Hey Shooby Doodlers, how are you doing? I am busy at the moment. I'm doing rough sketches for my new book, which is called Walker, which is all about a boy who can talk to dogs. So what does rough sketches mean? Well, I've got the book has been laid out very roughly. I've printed it out. It's 160 pages or so, which took my printer a little while to do. And so I can look at these pages and kind of really get a feel for what the book is kind of looking like and where the spaces are for the illustrations. Going through the galleys, which are kind of like when the whole book is sort of first laid out, I'm kind of saying, you know, maybe we could have an illustration here, maybe an illustration there. And it's kind of roughly working out. There are some things where I want a picture to go from one side of the page across down to the other. And so we kind of roughly block that in. And then once the illustration is put in, then the designer will kind of work the text around it, I hope, afterwards. So what happens is I get each sheet, I kind of go through it and think, what do I need on there? Do a very quick kind of rough sketch on that sheet, and then I kind of trace through onto it, and I just keep tracing and tracing until I got kind of the image that I want. And, you know, I keep going back to, look, click up here about tracing. People get really hung up about tracing. They think it's cheating. They think it's copying. It is copying, but it's copying my original work, and it's not copying. It's refining and refining to get the image that I want in the shape that I want as relating to the text to make the whole story much better. So now I'll just go through a quick bit of that process with you and show you what I do. So this is a typical kind of page which has been printed out, and here is the space for the, let me kind of put roughly, this is going to be the bottom of the page here. And this is the center, so this is the two sides of the book, there's the text, and this is my kind of illustration area. These will disappear because I want the illustration to go over the top. And I have done a very rough kind of sketch, so I want this kind of flowing upwards feel. It's going uphill. There is this kind of rabbit thing that's being chased. Dogs, there's our heroine Stella, the dog is here, and the other dogs are chasing behind here. So I have put some layout paper over the top, and this is, you can see, very thin, and I also have my light table underneath to help see through it. And here I've been sketching over the top. You can see I've been erasing quite a lot and re-rubbing out and trying things out. So this is, I don't know, how would you think? This is like the first draft. This is going to be the second draft. Now I want to improve on this. So I'm going to get another piece of layout paper. And if you're wondering if I use a lot of layout paper, well, at this kind of stage, yes, I do. And you just have to sort of go with it, really. So I'm just going to kind of sketch in here. And this is very much rough stage. I'm kind of working it all out so that it's kind of good enough to show to my publishers so that they'll get an idea of what I'm intending to do. And then they'll take a look and make any suggestions, because sometimes, you know, you just forget things and they'll go, you forgot there's meant to be this other dog there or something like that. So what we have here is I want to have, there's this thing, it's called the tartan rabbit, and it's a cloth thing, and it's sort of got buttons for eyes, and it's being dragged along, a bit like, you know, greyhound racing kind of thing that you'd see where they have a rabbit. So there's a car up on hay bales. Let me show. Yeah, this is a previous. There's a car up on hay bales. Actually, this is better because I've added the driver now. There's a car up on hay bales, and they've taken the wheel off, and they've just added a drum to which there's a cord wrapped around it. This really happens in some country places. And I think I need to put some little dots here. These are hay bales. So there's a line running all the way down to the rabbit, and they put this into reverse. The rabbit zips up, and all the dogs chase after it. Yeah, this is country pursuits for you. So this is what is going on in the story, and this is Stella, and so she's going to win. She's going to win it. Am I giving it all? Am I telling you the story? I really kind of probably shouldn't do that, should I? So anyway, well, she looks like she's going to win anyway at the moment, doesn't she? And so I think, you know, I've drawn her quite a few times now, in this kind of rough way that I'm kind of getting to know her quite well, and I think that's something that happens when you're illustrating a book. You know, you kind of draw these characters more and more, and you do start to get to kind of know them. Right, so we want to have, there's going to be her chest coming down, kind of like that. Paws. Not quite sure about this. I think I have to do a bit more thinking about this. She's a bit. So dogs. When dogs are running, they just don't look right, do they? No, so it just doesn't look right somehow. So, and then there's going to be kind of one coming down on the ground there. So does that look right? I'm not sure it does really. So I might have to kind of redraw this again. And each time I'm refining it and just getting to feel happier and happier about it. So I want this to look like a hill. So you can see there's a kind of a line under there, but I don't really want that. And I'm going to have maybe some kind of daisies and stuff just filling up this space. It's like a meadow. And I'll just make these grassy bits a bit smaller. But here we might have a kind of more of a feeling that it's kind of on the edge of a hill or something like that there. And then I got all these mad dogs down here. So I'm going to sort of just draw all these characters in. And so I'm feeling slightly pressured about all of this because the book was actually meant to be due out in the autumn, and I'm not quite sure what happened in the editing process. I'm doing a lot of publishing myself now, but these books, these are kind of middle grade novels, so I'm kind of much rather publish with a publisher. So I suppose I'm what they call a hybrid publisher now. So I publish some things myself. I publish some things with traditional publishers. So I'm publishing these with Firefly, who are a Welsh company. So if you don't know, I live in England, which is part of Great Britain. Wales is another country within Great Britain. So we're kind of the United Kingdom is what we are. So we're sort of three countries on the mainland anyway. We're three countries: England, Scotland, and Wales. And so I live right on the border of Wales, and so I'm working with Firefly, who are the only full-time dedicated children's publisher in Wales, and I was actually one of their very first authors of my Dragon Gold books. And I think I just kind of appreciate that kind of editorial kind of input and approach with middle grade. I think with picture books I feel very, very different about them now. Picture books, I don't know, it's so depressing trying to get a picture book made with a traditional publisher, that because they require international co-editions and things like that, they just take forever to finalise and formulate, and they've got to be written for, so that all the different countries are happy, and I think it's much more fun now, and also then I think you get an idea for a picture book, and by the time you published it traditionally, you get an idea. You're not actually doing the artwork until 3-4 years later, and you've forgotten what it was all about. I think now with print on demand, it's much more interesting and much more satisfying to just do it, and self-publish through sort of crowdfunding, through print on demand, and just to be able to do it. And I think that's kind of where I'm going more and more. And so that's it. This is meant to be a Great Dane here, this one. I haven't quite, I need to have the ears a bit more pointy, really. And so there, that's what I'm doing. So it's kind of responding to ideas. Although sometimes picture books, they do need you do need to spend time thinking about them, letting the ideas ferment. But some of the books I've done over the years, I've kind of done. When I look at them now, I kind of think, they're kind of their time, and it's quite, more of a kind of like a comic, and they could be just made rather than all the fuss and everything that goes on about them. It's hard to explain, really. There's so much fuss in the editorial and just the process, and all the selling in and things that, by the time you've actually got the thing, published, you're kind of bored of it, and everything's moved on. And so, yeah, I think I'm sort of moving to a more immediate kind of idea of writing and publishing, and sort of getting, like with my Penny and Benny idea, I'm going to be doing a Kickstarter with that very, very soon, actually. And I really want to get Penny and Benny kind of started, and I see that as a long kind of growing series, and hopefully it will find fans who will want to kind of back it and support it and allow me to continue it, and not just books. I can see that being, sort of greetings cards and all sorts of things. A kind of a lifestyle brand, I suppose, in a kind of strange kind of way. So here, that's, I think I'm kind of happy with that lot. These are the also rans, and I'm thinking we're going to need the kind of countryside in the background, and so these are going to be trees, and so this is all going to be painted in grey. We're going to have a church in the background there. This is all going to be painted in grey because it's a black and white book, and I think I've got to do a little bit more work on Stella here. I'm not quite happy with it, and in fact she needs to be more sort of free-flowing there as well. Stella is a cock-a-poodle-doo, so she needs to be a bit more furry, I think, as well. And so I'm just going to have another go at this. And I think we need the eyes far more focused on the rabbit. Yep, that's good. I'm happy with that. And then these ears are streaming behind her. I always think of Winnie the Pooh Piglet in the big wind, the big storm, and Piglet going along with his ears streaming behind him. And I can never remember if they're streaming behind him like banners or bananas. I think I always read it as bananas, and because they look like bananas in the illustration. And I think it's actually banners. So now look, I'm also thinking about the edge, and this is going to be the gutter of the book here. So you need to be thinking about, the book as well. So I think, that kind of feels a bit better. And then here, I don't know. Oh, this is just so difficult to draw this. It just doesn't feel right, does it? Oh, that feels like she's got a very twisted she's doing something very strange there. I think maybe I think maybe if I kind of do, I think I've got to do this again, haven't I? And then we'll get that other leg down there. So I think I've got to do that again now. So I'm going to put her on there. Now I'm going to do another. So it's refining and refining, and I'm quite happy to spend a bit of time on this one because I think this is quite a major and defining illustration for the story. So it kind of needs the time spending on it. So now I'm thinking I don't quite like how the tongue is now, so I'm going to do that. Yeah, that's, I think, a bit better. I think that should be coming more right, and then the tail would be there. So now I'm thinking, right, so we can have the paw like that. And then this one will be coming down. I think that's okay. I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to call that it, and I'm going to do that by, I'm going to trim this out, and I'm just going to stick that over the top so that I'm going to have to scan this to send to the publishers, so they'll see that version. And then when I come to do the finished thing, I might sort of do another bit of kind of working on, because at the moment my mind's not sort of thinking. I'm thinking videos and things. So I'm going to let that sink into my head, and I'm going to come back to that a little bit later when I've talked to the publishers about it, when we've agreed on all the illustrations that they're okay to go ahead with. Well, I hope that gave you a little bit of an insight into kind of making the next book, Walker, which I'm really looking forward to going out and promoting. In the meantime, make sure you're subscribed. Click this little button down here for the Shoo Rayner drawing channel, and keep coming back every week for lots more drawing and stuff about making children's books and picture books and stuff like that. In the meantime, keep drawing, practice, and I'll see you next time. You take care now. Bye-bye.